What do you think of artists who wait for other people to teach them how to be an artist?
I don't think you should wait for anything. I always had a strong sense that I had something to say, even as a little kid. I don't know if it was because I was like the youngest of four, but I was like, everybody listen to me. And so I started writing songs very young. So I was like, I can do this, you know, and I just like have always barged into situations where I'm like, I want to paint or I want to draw or I want to sing and made it happen. And so when it came to any and people are always like, well, what's the difference between doing music or doing film? Like, there is no difference to me creatively. It's just how I'm saying it. And it's never been about like, I need to learn something first. It's like, I'll learn as I go. And I think that has made it so I actually have output. Because if you wait around to know everything, you're never going to release anything. And like, only once you release something do you learn what you can do better next time.
And why don't you like to wait?
I don't know if it's just I'm an impatient person, you know, like I've just never depended on anybody to show me the right way to do something. Yeah, it's just I'm ready to barge in always, jump in feet first and then see what the consequences are.
You're a fast learner?
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I think fast learners, they don't like to wait because they usually grasp things fairly
Oh,
quickly.
yeah. You only need to show me something once. And so like with camera, like I started as an AC just for friends of mine and like watched what they did, watch where they placed camera, watch what lenses they used. And that's how I learned how to shoot. Same thing with when I got into film through music. And so we worked with directors the first couple times we wanted to do music videos. And again, like, you know, I was in their in their notes, doing all their helping their pre-production, seeing where I could pull, you know, any help I could for them. And in that process, basically learned how to do pre-production on a production. And then I was like, well, I can't afford to hire a director every time, so I'm just going to start doing it. And I think that is also part of why I don't wait around, because I can't afford to like hire people. So it's like, well, if I can get like a $500 camera and I can go, now that I have this knowledge, I'll just go do it myself. So I think that's always been part of it too. Is like, what can I do myself to get this done?
You said in the past that you charge in where sometimes maybe you don't belong or you just like to just go for it. Can you give us examples?
Yeah, well, like with film, you know, coming from music, a lot of people are like, oh, you've got to go to film school, you got to learn all this stuff. And I just like never felt like that was for me. Like, I'm not going to go to school for 4 years before I decide if I'm going to go do something. So it's definitely like, let's just go make a feature. And when we made our first feature, a few of our friends that went to film school were like, you need to stop. Like, just, you're no good, just stop now. But yeah, we didn't listen to them. We were like, okay, well, we'll just do another one. It'll be better next time. So definitely I've gotten that kind of feedback. And as a woman in the industry, you always get that kind of feedback. Like, you know, I was AC on one thing once, and I was just filling in for a couple weeks, and I overheard the DP tell the camera operator, like, oh, we'll get you a guy next time, don't worry about it. And I was like, well, what is that about? You know, like, he was just so annoyed to have a woman on set with him, you know. So definitely, you know, I don't let that stuff really get to me, because I'll just go to the next set and it'll be different, hopefully. But yeah, definitely, you know, there's always cliques in every industry, in music and film, wherever. You got to break in, you know, or find your own people to make your own little circle around that you can have that kind of collaboration that's going to make something good.
Do you think in some ways it's good that you didn't go to film school because you weren't trained to do sort of like cookie cutter things? You found like a more interesting path?
Yeah, I think for me, like going back to being an artist, like it's like, you know, I like the weirder stuff. I like weird lighting. I like, you know, not straight 3-section narratives. You know, I like it to go to different places, and like, I like it to be surprising, you know, like I don't want to do the same movie we've seen 1,000 times, you know. And in some ways I think that makes our movies harder to like gain acceptance, because they are a little bit out there, or like the sense of humor is a little off or whatever. But I think in the long run, it'll show a body of work has like the same auteur type brain, you know, behind everything. And I'm not sure if that would have been beaten out of me if I'm like, oh, I must do it the proper way, you know, in this 3-act structure, like without, you know, not mixing humor with drama and stuff like that. Like, I definitely like, it's a lot of freedom to like not knowing the right way to do it. And of course you pick it up as you go along, because like there are standards for a reason, like in how to shoot, you know, you got your wide, your medium, your close, like that's there for a reason, you know, so make an edit make sense. So you have to pick up a certain base level, I think. But yeah, maybe it's better not sometimes, not to have, like, you must do it this way in these boxes.
Do you see everybody that you know that went to film school actually working in the film industry?
I'm not sure. Yeah, because I definitely know a lot of people that have gone. And what I have seen for some people that's been really good is more the connections that they've made, So like, they all went to this college, and so they all still work on each other's projects. They know who to call for different jobs because they all came up through the same program. And so I have definitely seen that work for people. But I think it's a struggle for anybody, film school or not, to get into the industry and gain the experience and be on the list to be hired. I think it's any which direction you come at it. It's not, it's not an easy industry.
Did someone actually say to you, don't keep making films?
Yeah, definitely. We were told to stay with the music, stay in our lane, stay what we know. And I got a letter from that friend like years later apologizing.
Oh, that's
so,
a nice friend.
It was nice because like, now I'm like fifth movie and I'm like, now you followed your path. You're good. And like another one was a person that was in film school and was like, no, it's all wrong.
One of those people.
Yeah. But definitely we went straight from music videos into a feature film. So we kind of skipped the like learning on short film thing that a lot of people do, And so like definitely we learned like you can't have a 10-page dialogue, like just monologue for your end scene, So like our first film has that. And it was definitely like very boring. Once we cut it, we're like, oh God, like now we know, keep our dialogue a little more snappy, And so like each movie we've tried to hone that a little bit more, keep it moving a lot faster. But like we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't done it, But it's out there. And that's the thing, like it was good enough to be distributed and get out there like 10 years ago. And so like it opens it up to the criticisms of a first time film.
And you've crowdfunded 3 times?
Yeah. Crowdfunding is like a journey. And so like for our early films, we had a good community. So my partner and I were in music in Boston, and we knew hundreds of people doing music in Boston. And when we transitioned to film, they were very generous. Like, yeah, go make a film. Here's $10. And so like we were able to crowdfund, I think it was like around 20,000 for our first 3 movies each, which was great. We were able to rent mansions and rent locations and pay our crew and our actors, which is the way you want to do it. I think I never wanted to like totally rely on a lot of favors, even though I have also. But yeah, crowdfunding is definitely difficult. It's time consuming, but it does build a good community around you. And it makes people very invested in the project, in where it goes. They want to see it through. So, and you don't have that kind of organic community around a film necessarily without that couple hundred people's input,
And you finished the projects, right?
Yeah, finished all of them.
That's important too.
Got the rewards out.
Right. Yeah, see?
It's a lot, yeah.
Where does the urge to be an artist come from?
I think it just goes back to like some narcissistic idea that I have something to say that's a little bit different than everybody else. And just the urge to create, like, I was saying earlier, like I need to be moving. I need to have my hands in something. I need to be thinking about something. And I think during the pandemic, not to dwell on the pandemic, but where I wasn't working, it was very depressing, and I just like, I got a dog because I was like, I can't deal with this, like not having anything to do. And, and I think that like kind of put into perspective, because the minute I started working again and started working on my own projects again, I was happy again. So I think it is partially that, like I need to be creating something just for my own mental state to keep me going as a person.
What do you think about artists who are more talented than you, but they don't want to put in the same amount of work because they're waiting for their work to be discovered?
Right. Well, what is the saying? It's 99% perspiration creating anything. I think 99% of it is physical labor to me. It's like getting on set, knowing all the technical stuff, doing the job, going into the edit room for months and months and months. It is definitely like a slog, and it's work, and it's like very hard. So if you don't have that work ethic in addition to your genius and your talent, like I don't think you're going to get very far unless you have money to pay everybody to do all that other stuff for you. So I think if you have the talent and not the drive, you need some cash.
I like that. That's good. That's a good little saying. But there are people out there who are very talented, and then you see that they're just kind of like they don't want to take certain steps. They don't want to try to make contacts. I get not wanting to promote yourself, especially in this day and age where everybody wants to be a quote unquote influencer. It kind of gets a negative rap. But have you seen that in people that whether they went to film school or not, they seem like they're not willing to put their stuff out there, but they're brilliant.
Yeah, and why that is. Yeah, I know like certain friends of mine who are very talented directors and things. They're just like waiting for that perfect storm of like, I have a good script, I have the money, I have producers on board, all like this hurricane of things coming together for them. And I just feel like if you're waiting for it to be perfect, it's never gonna happen, So like for me, like we always have a ton of ideas ready to go. Like we have our $10,000 scripts, we have our $1 million scripts. And it's like, if we can just figure out what resources we have in that moment, that's the project we do. And, but like I have like scripts set in space, I'll probably never be able to make. But if that was my dream project, then I would not make anything, So it's like I have these other ideas. I'm like, okay, well, it's in a house with 2 people. Like that one I can make next week, if I just like have the actors on board, and have a location on board. So I think it's really about just diversifying where you are at, as far as like what you need to get done. Because yeah, if you're waiting for that perfect storm, it might not ever come for you.
Do you think it's also about being a realist?
Oh yeah, I'm very pragmatic. Yeah, and especially with like perfection, like I am definitely a perfectionist at heart, but I'm a perfectionist that like knows that getting to 90% is like maybe okay, and because that last 10% is going to take you like way longer and way more work to get that last 10% perfect than it got you to the 90%. So if you can accept 90%, you're good. Just release it.